Okay, we're going to be doing a lesson on percent change and simple interest. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is how to calculate a percent change from going from one number to the next. The first thing I want to talk about is it doesn't matter if the number is going up or the number is going down. The procedure is still the same. The formula we're going to follow is we are going to find the difference between the two numbers. So we're going to subtract the two numbers. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep it positive. So we're going to find the difference between the two numbers, and we'll want to keep that as the absolute value, which is we want it always to be positive. Now we're going to determine which one of these numbers is the original number, and typically it'll say change from a number to another number, in this case from 136 to 254. Once we identify the original number, we are going to take the difference and we're going to divide by that original number. We're going to take that result and we're going to multiply by 100, and that will give us our percent. So those will be the three steps. We're going to subtract, divide, and multiply by 100. So in the first problem, if I subtract 254 minus 136, I get 118. Then I'm going to identify that the original number is 136, so we're going to divide by 136. So if I do 118 divided by 136, and if you leave it on your calculator, you're going to get something that looks like this: 0.8676, and so on. Leave that on your calculator and just hit times 100 now and hit enter. So if you hit times 100, hit enter, what that does is keeps the number on your calculator, and then we could round to the nearest tenth. So on your calculator, you should be seeing 86 point, and we'll take the next two numbers, 76, because the nearest tenth is that first decimal place. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the next number to decide whether we're going to keep it or round it up. So if this number is 5 or above, we will round that number up. If it's 4 or below, we would keep it. In this case, it's 6, so that tells us to round that 7 up to an 8. So my answer is going to be 86.8 and keep a percent sign for symbol required. Let's take a look at the next problem here and follow the steps. The first step is to subtract the two numbers, so we're going to find the difference. I like to subtract 142 minus 115. It keeps the number positive, so that gives me 27 for my difference. I'm going to establish that I'm going from 115, so that's my original number. Always divide by the original number. It doesn't matter if the number is bigger or smaller. You have to decide which number is the original number. 27 divided by 115. Leave that on your calculator. You should get something like 0.2347 and so on. Hit times 100 and hit enter. That'll turn it into a percent for you, and it comes out to be 23 point, we'll just do 2 decimal places because we want to round to the 1 decimal place in the nearest tenth, and the 7 tells me to make that 4 a 5. Oops. So we're going to make it 23.5%. Let's take a look at the next problem. We're going from 43 to 53. If I subtract those two numbers, that would be 10. The original is 43, so I'm dividing by 43. Get that result, multiply by 100. So 10 divided by 43, hit enter, multiply by 100. That comes out to be 23.25. The 5 tells me to round the 2 up to a 3. 23.3%. Next problem, we're going from 42 to 90. If I subtract, that comes out to be 48. Divide by the original, which is 42. In this case, the top's bigger. That doesn't matter. That's fine. It's going to be over 100% because it increased more than 42. So I'm going to divide, multiply by 100. So 48 divided by 42, multiply by 100, comes out to be 114.28. The 8 tells you to round the 2 to a 3, so 114.3%. For the next problem, we are going from 250 to 50. So we will be first subtract 250 minus 50 ends up being 200. The original number is 250. They went from 250 down to 50, so we're still dividing by 250 because that's the original. Divide, multiply that by 100, so 200 divided by 250 multiplied by 100 ends up being exactly 80% with no decimals to round. Next problem, we are going from, it has a wristband that normally costs $400 and it's on sale, so it went down. So 400 minus 184 ends up being 216 for my difference. Dividing by 400, because that was the original amount, divide that, multiply by 100. So you got 216 divided by 400, multiply by 100, ends up being exactly 54% with no decimals. Okay, Rosa went from 204 points in math class, now has 255. Subtract, that's a difference of 51. The original is 204. Divide, multiply by 100, so 51 divided by 204, then multiply by 100 is exactly 25%. In the last problem, we're going from 425 to 323. It's a difference of 102, and for the drop-down box, it would be a decrease because the number went down, so it would be a decrease. Increase or decrease is just found by looking at the two numbers and deciding whether it went up or down. Still dividing by the original, which is 425, multiply by 100. So 102 divided by 425, and then multiply that by 100, is exactly 24% with no decimals. Now we're going to talk about simple interest. The formula for simple interest is that interest equals principal rate, or principal being the initial amount, times the rate, times the time. 3 numbers. So when we want to find the interest, P is the initial amount, then the amount you start with, so P is what you start with. Rate is the percentage, and T is the time in years. So when I read this problem, I'm finding that I have Rosa's putting $6,500 in at 5% interest for 3 years. So we're going to multiply those together to find the interest. So we're going to do 6,500 times 5, hit the percent symbol on your calculator, times 3. So 6,500 times 5% times 3 years comes out to be $975. Now, since this question asks how much money will they have at the end of 2 years, what they want us to do is first find the interest. So we're going to take the starting amount, 1,060, and we're going to multiply that with the rate. So we'll do 1,060 times 1% times 2 years. So we do that, 1,060 times 1% times 2 years comes out to be $21.20. But they want to know how much money they have at the end total. So we're going to take the initial amount, 1,060, and we're going to add that to 2120, and that's going to give us 1,060, $1,081.20 with a $sign for label required. So keep in mind, if they want you to find the interest, you're multiplying, but if they want you to find how much money they have at the end of those 2 years, you have to take the interest you find and you have to add it back to the total or the initial amount. So let's take a look at the last problem here. To find the interest, we're going to do the initial amount, 100, times 6.9% times 6 years. Keep in mind that when you hit 6.9% on your calculator, you want to make sure you're hitting that percent symbol on your calculator. So when we do 100 times 6.9% times 6, that's going to give us $41.40 in interest. They want to know how much money they have at the end of 6 years. So take 4140 plus the 100, and that gives us $141.40, and make sure you have a dollar sign.